Hello everyone, the 316 here with another G.I. Joe Classified series figure review. This time I got number 42, the Cobra Viper from the Python Patrol line, which is a Target exclusive. This figure retails for, I believe it's $22.99. They recently had a clearance on this figure at my local Target for $19, so not really much of a clearance, but still on sale. That's when I decided I should go ahead and buy it. Anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at the accessories. You don't get a lot here. You get a backpack, which is painted nicely. Got a little yellow, a little bit of the gray, and some of the red for the Cobra logo. No other paint, though. We'll take a look at that on the figure in a moment. Next up, you got some goggles, which kind of weird that a helmeted figure needs goggles, but I don't know. Maybe the helmet breaks. I don't know. You get a pistol, which, it's a pistol. There you go, just the pistol. It does not have an effect piece hole for it though, so you can't plug anything in. The last two accessories are for a rifle and a magazine, and all you gotta do is just kind of put it in at an angle, and then it can be difficult to do this. There you go. You'll know it's in there when you hear a little click. This is a very weird looking rifle. It does have a effect piece hole in it. And I believe some upcoming G.I. Joe figures are going to come with some effect pieces to put in your weaponry. It's an interesting looking rifle. I'm not sure if it's, more of a sniper rifle, more of like a marksman rifle, if it's, automatic. I honestly don't know. I think this was one of the first molds that they did where it was kind of like futuristic looking, but kind of strange nonetheless. Now let's get that table out of the way, and now we can look at the actual figure here, the Cobra Viper. This was not a figure I was originally gonna get, but, when I saw Outback on store shelves, I'm like, alright, I want Outback, he looks cool, I could use this custom base, right, if I wanted to do something with him. If I wanted to get like a selfie series figure, put my head on it, I'd be good to go, right? This figure, though, because it was on sale, I was like, alright, I might as well go ahead and pick one up, and you know what, I'm glad I did. Because in person, the yellow doesn't look nearly as fluorescent, and it looks a lot better. On camera, I did change up the colors a little bit so that it looks a little bit brighter. Just so you know, in person, it's a lot more muted yellow. It's not this like highlighter yellow. It's not super bright. It's it's a little bit more muted, but I think the reason why the yellow looks so weird is because of the yellow on the torso here. Because this is a rubberized piece overlaid on top of the torso, it's, the way that the paint adheres to the rubber may make it look a little worse than it does, say, on the side of the leg here, because this is just hard plastic, whereas this is rubber. So it kind of clashes with itself just because one is rubber, one isn't. So if you really wanted to on the rubber piece, you could use like a matte spray if you really wanted to. What is nice though, you do get the Cobra logo there. I just wish it was like highlighted in like black or red like it is up here on the torso where they printed one on. Speaking of printing, on the upper arms here you have some pretty nice like a chain link fence type of print. On this arm it's a little messed up as you can see when I try to align it. You can see like this section on the left here kind of overlays on top of that, but like from the back it looks pretty good if you can line it up right. From the front it's kind of a mess, as you can see. What is interesting is the way they printed this. They actually printed on the bottom portion of the articulation joint, so there's none on the top portion. Just an interesting note. Probably easier to paint it that way because it lays flat, because the peg would be parallel or in line with the arm itself. On this side it looks good. No major issues, no overlapping. I dig it, like it. He's got some wrist bracers here, which you can take off. The Viper 3-pack, I believe, is the one where you can like more easily take them off. I'm not sure about that. I don't have that 3-pack. Probably won't get it. But underneath this is a forearm piece that is unpainted. It's just this gray color underneath. So I'm going to get this out of the way. It's kind of... There we go. That's much better. But anyway, there is a forearm piece like Outback's, but it's in green or gray. Why did I say green? So you'd have to paint that yourself. As you can see, this is a Caucasian person, but you can make it black person, white person, whatever color you want to paint it. So I like the option, obviously, but this figure you don't really need to take these off. It matches the boots anyway. Front of the torso here, I wanted to point out, it has some like maybe like a flashbang, fragmentation grenade, but on the backpack they're in yellow. Just a interesting thing to note there. You do have some black paint on this and on the middle here. Not sure what those could be. Maybe like communication device, maybe just like an additional pouch. I'm not entirely sure. I do not know. On the right leg here, you get a pistol holster. So I'll go ahead and stick that in there. And it fits in there nicely. It does cover these pockets, but I don't know. Maybe it's easy to get into. These boots are very long. They go all the way up to the knee and hit the knee pad, which not a big deal to me. But I don't know. I'm just kind of used to this look where the boots only go up to like mid calf rather than all the way up. These boots are made for walking. Articulation is what you'd expect in this figure. It's got the drop down hinges, but there's not a lot of range of movement in them. At least on this leg. This one's pretty good. They don't feel loose even if I do this. They do wobble a bit, as you can see. But, they feel rigid. Like, I could probably stand this guy up on one leg if I, just tried. He is a little top-heavy because of that rubberized piece on the torso, but, there you go. He stands on one leg just fine. Those drop-down hinges aren't that loose on these G.I. Joe figures. He doesn't really have very wide hips like, what's his name over there does. So, again, not too much range of movement in the hips there. Let's go ahead and take a look at the back of the figure. There's not much really to look at. On the inner thigh, you can see that it is painted yellow. On the back of the figure, the belt looks a lot better just because it's a straight line, and it's very hard to mess up painting a straight line. What is also nice is that they did continue the light gray paint on the torso and the back here, and they even painted on the helmet on the back, which is very nice. I don't see that too often, where they, put a lot of attention into the back of the figure. And speaking of back, here's the backpack on the figure. Looks good. I enjoy it. All right, last thing to take a look at is the helmet. And this thing, in person, looks a lot better to me. It may be easy to see on camera, but there's a slight iridescence to that red visor. It doesn't look flat. There's more of a, like I said, an iridescence, like a little bit of a blue shine in there, kind of like an opal. So from certain angles, it kind of has like a purplish hue to it. I mean, it's still a red visor, but there's a little bit more going on there. Not sure how they did that, but I quite like that. I always felt this helmet was a little too square. Again, in person, it looks better. Originally, I thought it was like a straight line, but the visor dips down a bit, and these actually go inward, upwards towards the top of the helmet. So it's not nearly as bad as I was expecting. I do like the side of it, though. Now that I think about it, this particular visor kind of reminds me of the Phantom Ranger. I should have got him. Anyway, here are your goggles. Let's go ahead and stick those on. Getting these on can be a little bit of a pain, but not too difficult. I think that's good. If you collect Marvel Legends, that might be a good set of goggles for the Hiatus. Hopefully I pronounced that right. Last thing to do is to put this rifle in his hand. And, now we got a fully, accessoried out figure. One thing to note about this particular body mold is that, as far as I know, every other Cobra Viper has a scarf. This one does not come with one. They're in a jungle, so it makes sense that it wouldn't come with one. However, considering this is mostly just a repaint, if not a full repaint, it would have been nice if they could have included that scarf. Even if, they're in a jungle, it's hot. Yeah, no. Getting him to hold the rifle in a good pose is pretty easy. Although because, again, of that rubberized torso overlay, it may be a little bit more challenging than a normal figure, but getting him in a resting pose with the rifle, you can do that. You can get him up here, and you can get him a little bit more, deeply into that rifle. Although putting it up this high, I noticed, without the backpack makes him top heavy. So if you want him to hold the, rifle up this high, you're going to want to put the backpack on. Normally, I just like putting him in a more resting pose with the rifle. Just, looks like he's ready for battle. He's about to help command his troops. And, I think it looks good. All right, let's go ahead and put him to the side here, and we can do some size comparisons. He is roughly 6.5 inches tall, which is a fairly standard height for the Hasbro male figures just in general. And I showed him a little bit earlier, but he is with Tiger Force Outback, the other Target exclusive. This Outback, I decided to give him a tiny Allen wrench because I thought it looked funny. And the only other G.I. Joe classified figure I have, and that I have reviewed, the movie Snake Eyes, who, man, this movie Snake Eyes is like tiny, dude. Like, he's tiny. He's so short. There's like no bulk to him. He's just all lean. Yeah. All right, let's get him out of here. And let's take a look at the Python Patrol Cobra Viper with some other figures here. So let's go ahead and take him out of the picture for now. And let's go ahead and start off with a McFarlane figure. We have here the, what's his name? Bloodsport? Yeah, Bloodsport with the mask. That's kind of why I put these two together, because they both are helmeted. And it was the best McFarlane representation, relatively speaking. Speaking of armor, let's take a look at the Jazzwares Spartan Yoroi. And his repulsor fell out. I'll just stick that to the side. Honestly, not a bad scale for these two next to each other. The Spartans are a lot bigger, generally speaking. So, yeah, I like how this looks next to each other. Not bad. Next up, let's go ahead and look at a wrestling figure. I have a Mattel Elite Ryback. And these guys scale pretty good together, too. Yeah. And then a couple more here. Let's take a look at another militarized figure. We have the Power Rangers A-Squad, yellow. And these two mesh really well together. I could see like a whole like army of just A-Squad yellows in this guy. Like they just work really well as a cohesive unit. Like if this had a little red on him, perfect. Like these two could easily mesh together and help Cobra, if you will. Okay, and lastly, as always, I try to include these two. We have the Amanda Connor Black and White Batman statue and the Lightning Collection White Ranger. Last couple thing here. Let's go ahead and take a look at the box. And I showed you the insert earlier. There's your Python Patrol. And I still have the Tiger Force one here. Nice contrast of figures. I enjoyed that. And let's go ahead and take a look at the box. So obviously this is what came inserted into the box behind the figure. One of the last few G.I. Joes that is going to have the open window. Python Patrol here. G.I. Joe, Classified Series, Cobra Viper. And they reused this artwork but colored it differently so it matched his colors more. Here's the back of the box, which is pretty boring. Bottom of the box with the rest of the legalese, 42. There's all of the Cobra Viper's, specialties. And there's the top of the box for you. So overall, now that this figure's on clearance, not a great clearance, but still a clearance, like $3-4, right? I really enjoy this figure, and, I really wanted to get the bat, but I'm okay with this. Like, I'm perfectly fine with this particular figure. Wish I spent a little bit less on it, but honestly, I really like how it looks in my collection. Again, it meshes really well with certain figures, generally speaking. And I hope to get some more G.I. Joes in the future. I'm eyeing that Tiger Force Duke, but he's just a little out of my price range right now. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Let me know in the comments below what you think of this figure, what other G.I. Joe classified figures you want to see me review in the future. Don't forget to leave a like on the video, subscribe, and hit the bell. All of those help out my channel tremendously. And we keep growing, guys. You know, just steady, slow growth. Fine with me. Almost at 300 subscribers. Let's get there quick, guys. Anyway, and as always, peace.